Good morning. These things generally start off with that there's a clever developer, a stupid city, and a victimized neighborhood. And this was no different. And we're here to celebrate that after 150 meetings, all these disjuncted constituents have come together with let's say a decent degree of respect for each other and formed a team. And we're celebrating here that you only can get these things done when you find a way to quantify your issues, make good solutions, and come together as a team. So I'm very grateful to everybody who has been on my team. That could be the Zoning Commission, the Historic Preservation Board, the Advisory Neighborhood Commission. Nobody more there than the special committees in the Advisory Neighborhood Commission who knew more about zoning than we did, who know more about the building than we do, than I do. Brian Pape and Ivan Fershberg, who went through a crash course in Development 101 to be a valid opponent. Demped, who worked tirelessly to make sure that they didn't leave a dollar on the table. They were great opponents. Some of them are not here. Matt Troy, Steve Siegel, but we still have Anna here. I saw Corey Lee, who left, but stood many evenings with us at public hearings. We have the city council, the mayor, the corp council, the low-income housing gang, the lenders, and then our partners, Clark Construction and Equity and Execution. Jamestown, who is one of the most prolific German investors in the United States. And then, obviously, together with me here, Stanton Development, Dante's Partners, Ellis Caldwell, David Wilmot, and the Warrenton Group. So it's been a great trip. I'm happy that we came here, that we now have a reasonable level of respect together for each other. We promise to do our best to deliver a good building, and we promise to stay here a long time with this building as long-term owners. I would like to take this moment to recognize our esteemed mayor, Muriel Bowser, Council Member Allen, Council Member Grosso, ex-Council Member Tommy Wells, who I'm grateful that he caved in on making a public path through the center of the project. And with this, I would like to hand over the microphone to Ken Golding of Stanton. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Mayor Muriel Bowser, Councilman Charles Allen, distinguished guests and friends and partners. I remember 9 years ago when it was announced that the Hine School was going to be closed, that there was a meeting held by some of the leaders in the community. George Didden, who was then the president of National Capital Bank, and one of the founders of Main Street, Barracks Row, and then we also had Steve Simrod, who was the activist in the community, one of the founders of the Hill Center, and Dick Wolf, who was the quintessential urban planner and past president of the Capitol Hill Restoration Society. Sadly, none of these people are here with us today, but I remember Dick turning to me and Kitty. Dick's wife, Mimi, is here. And Dick turned to me and Kitty and said, this would be a really great project for you guys at Stanton. And I looked at Dick and I said, my God, that's 10 years and 2 mayors. Well, I was wrong. It was 3 mayors. So what I'm saying is it takes leadership to do a project like this. And I don't just mean on the private side, I mean on the public side. You have to have some pretty strong leaders. And we were very fortunate to have this ex-councilman over here, Tommy Wells, and his able assistant, Charles Allen, who believe firmly in smart growth and livable, walkable communities. And they had our back at the council level and at the neighborhood level. And we were exceptionally lucky because we had a rather remarkable A&C commission. And these people, as Anthony alluded to, went to at least 100 to 200 meetings, 150 to 200 meetings. Nothing easy to do. It was a very divisive issue at one time. And because they had backbone, because they persevered, and they were willing to work with the community and forge a compromise. And I'm referring to Ivan Frischberg and Brian Pate, the single-member district members, and Kirsten Oldenburg, and Dave Garrison, Norman Metzger, and Brian Flavin. And believe me, it makes a huge difference. There's no shortage of leaders and activists on Capitol Hill. After all, this is Capitol Hill. That's what people do here. And we're lucky to have 2 really engaged commissioners, Steve Hagedorn and Diane Hoskins. And finally, Stanton has been a presence on Capitol Hill for 35 years. Myself, my partner Katie Kaup, and Alex Golding care greatly about what we build. We believe in great architecture. Behind that tree is a beautiful building that we just finished. It's copper and laser cut Italian tile. It's gorgeous. But we also care about who the users are, and we care about public space. It has to look great. So we're going to continue that tradition. We're just fortunate that we partnered with East Bank, who has the same vision, which they've done in Georgetown. And of course, we have great partners in Dante Partners, Warrington Group, Jamestown, Clark, and Loretta Caldwell Associates. So this is a fabulous team, and this is going to be a really unique project. It's going to do something. I mean, in addition to connecting to 8th Street, finally, we have a linkage to Barrack Row, giving a beautiful venue to the flea market. Wait till you see this when it's done. And paying homage, and affordable housing, and paying homage to Eastern Market, the pivot point of this community. It'll be really something. So I'm ready to start digging earth, but first let me introduce Kirsten Oldenburg, who was a commissioner and still is on the A&C Commission. Kirsten, would you please come up? Thank you.
Hi, everybody. As you know, the A&C, the Advisory Neighborhood Commission, our role is really to reach out to the community, provide meetings and access and for the community for any of these kinds of events, big and small, that are going to change the neighborhood. And this has been alluded to already. This project has been through almost a decade and dozens of community meetings, some of which the ANC held. But I recall that the first meeting was in June of 2008, before the formal process even began, when then Council Member Wells, he gathered us all together in the Hine building, which used to be back here, to discuss ideas for the school's replacement. And that was the beginning of a long process. As I think many people know, I've been a supporter of this, a very appropriately urban mixed-use project, and believe that when it's completed, it will contribute positively to and enhance our Capitol Hill community. The ANC worked very hard through Ivan Frischberg and Brian Pate specifically to shape the project and bring benefits to the community. We recognize, though, that many in the community were and still may be unhappy with the size and scope of the development. But I hope the resulting complex, this beautiful complex of residences, offices, and shops that will bring new economic vitality to our neighborhood will help change this point of view. And I'd just like to finish by congratulating Stanton East Bank and all those many people who helped to bring us to this very exciting point today. Thank you. And now let me introduce the Deputy Mayor for Economic Development, Brian Kenner.
Good. Thank you, Kirsten. I've heard two themes in all of the conversations people have come up thus far. One is a personal connection, and the other is it takes a village. So I'm going to do no different than that. My personal connection is I used to live at 9th and C Northeast, and so I played many tennis matches on the tennis courts that used to be here. The last competitive basketball game I played in my life was actually in the basketball courts that are over here. And so this is not only a real estate project for both me and the folks in my office, but it's a part of our experience. It's a part of who we are. In terms of it takes a village, first, obviously, I'd like to thank the mayor. I think she's done a tremendous job of prioritizing affordable housing, prioritizing community involvement, thinking about things like jobs and small business development, and those are going to be no different on this project. Obviously, former council member Wells, as well as current council member Charles Allen, who I've seen at quite a few groundbreakings in Ward 6 recently. And then on the DemPed side, Anna Shapiro, our project manager, who's here, who has been working on this project diligently. Our general counsel, Susan Longstreet, who I believe has been dealing with this project since at least 2008 or 9. Jay Sarubian as well as a host of other DemPed people, both current and former, that we have that have touched this project. Matt Troy, Jose Sousa, who I see in the back here, Corey Lee, was mentioned earlier, Joe Lappin, Emily Morris, and many others. But it takes a village to get these kinds of projects sort of done. It took a little bit of time to get this one. We wanted to make sure that we had community involvement. We wanted to make sure that we had the affordable housing, which I think is about 20% for this project, and what really is going to be an opportunity to revitalize what was a former school site, but more importantly, make a fantastic contribution to the community. So we are very happy that this project is moving forward, and we are here to say that hopefully this is an example of what we can produce when everyone comes together. With that, I would like to introduce Councilmember Allen to talk a little bit more about the project. Thanks, sir.
Well, good morning, everybody. I was standing, I think with you actually, back in 2008 in the cafeteria. You can picture it behind me. And for a multitude of reasons, I don't think I ever thought I'd be standing right here as we actually break ground on it. I really appreciate, Ken, you talking about the community engagement, as well as certainly singling out several members of our community that played a big role in this, between Dick Wolf, Steve Simrot, George Didden, and so many others that are unfortunately not with us today, but I appreciate the fact that you mentioned that. I would say first and foremost, and to those of us who care about this intensely, how we call things, not ex-council member, but former council member Tommy Wells. This has been a project that certainly with his leadership as the Ward 6 council member really helped make sure that it got done and helped bring people together. One of the things that we did through this, for those that remember, a multitude of meetings before the RFP ever even went out. How many people remember the dot voting meeting, which was a whole lot of fun too? We tried to do and create a really great community process to help inform and get to a better project, even if we understand there's going to be some tension that takes place. And one of the things that I hope this experience actually helps create too is something that informs, something that I think the mayor should get a lot of credit for in leading with this kind of our RFP model, which tries to do a very similar idea of bringing in a lot more consensus, a lot more community input into the process. And I know that she's charged the deputy mayor's office to be thinking in that respect with a lot of projects. And I think that it helps us navigate a lot of issues and helps bring a community together to create something we're very special about. So I hope that this can also end up being a model in that way as well. I think there's so many people to acknowledge and so many people to thank along the way. I would say I've seen so many A&C commissioners here. There's two in particular, but I've seen A&C commissioners here from years past. I think I saw a couple of A&C commissioners that were here when L'Enfant was surveying the city. That's how long this project's taken. But I think Brian Pate and Ivan Firstberg in particular deserve a big round of applause and thanks. ANC 6B stood up and really helped provide an immense amount of leadership, of working with neighbors, working with the community to help us create something that at the end of the day we're all going to be incredibly proud of. But those two individuals in particular really worked hard, worked with their neighbors, worked with the community, worked with our development partners, worked with the city, and really helped make sure that that they helped lead a process. And so we really are grateful for their leadership and the time that they put into that. And so again, I really appreciate it. I know Brian, who's now active duty military, couldn't be here today, but I know Ivan's here, so thanks to both of you. We're going to hear about all the great things that this project is going to provide and the great things this is going to create. I think for me, the biggest piece of this actually has to do with the potential this has and what I believe will come to pass, and that is that it will be the connective tissue between Barracks Row and Eastern Market. This is really going to help connect that. You can applaud for that, absolutely, thank you. These are two incredibly special, unique, wonderful places in our neighborhood that we love and treasure so much. And creating that connection is going to be something that is really special. It's something we're going to be incredibly proud of. And I think once we come back and we will be here to cut a ribbon, we are going to be so excited by what we have seen this turn into. And again, I think we're going to be so proud of this. And so I appreciate all the many hands and all the work that has gone into this. So with that, I get to introduce the person who I think also gets a lot of credit here, because not only has she been the mayor now as we move through the actual groundbreaking and the construction, but as on the council side was the chair of economic development. And when the project ran into bumps or had to clear hurdles, she was a partner that we were able to work with as well on the council side. So this is, I wouldn't say this is something that she's inheriting as mayor. This is a project she's been a part of and has known about and been engaged in the details throughout. I was with her just yesterday on another project where she's been very involved in helping provide the leadership, and now as mayor is going to help also as well make sure that we see this and again have a complete project that we're incredibly proud of. So with that, it's my pleasure and honor to introduce and welcome up Mayor Muriel Bowser.
Well, good morning, everybody. I am really excited to be here and standing here. I'm actually pretty shocked by the site behind me. I have looked at this site, like many of you, for my entire life one way, and now we can stand here and see its future before us. So I am just really delighted that Anthony and Ken Golding persevered, stuck it out, had a big vision, and were willing to work with everybody, the stupid city, the victimized neighbors, and us, the greedy developers, so we know we're going to change that story. And in all of my days working with communities on revitalization projects, and it's really been the passion of my life, I know, and we've talked about the push and pull of getting development projects done. They're almost always better because of it. And so we're going to try to get that 10-year period down to 3.5 years, right, Brian, on all future developments. And we'll assure everybody we'll be breaking ground and cutting ribbons by 2017. So 3.5 years from 10 years will be a good thing. I, too, want to recognize the director of the Department of the Environment. You know him as your council member for 8 years, Tommy Wells. Give him a big round of applause. I watched Tommy watch Charles, and I know what that feeling is. That feeling is, thank God Charles can do this now. And thank God we trained him for 8 whole years and that he's ready and he's doing a great job. And I call Charles the new old council member, because I got to tell you, I got to commend you for making a very smart choice in Charles. He's brought an incredible level of leadership to who I call the new kids on the block, the crew of 5 new council members. And Charles really stands as a leader among that group, and he is continuing in the great tradition of Ward 6 leadership. So let's hear it for your council member. And your at-large council member is here, also from Ward, you're from Ward 5. Okay, you're from Ward 5. He's adopted Ward 6. Councilmember Grasso, who now chairs the Committee on Education, and Charles and Tommy and David are all focused on making sure that we stay attuned to the needs of Ward 6 communities and Ward 6 schools. And so I really appreciate all of your focus on this project as well. So we get to now watch this project come up close to a metro station, close to well-established, well-knit communities, focus of very active ANC commissioners, and watch how this can really be a model for other parts of our city. We know what Eastern Market means to our entire city, and so we want to make sure that we're always focused on revitalizing these areas. This project is going to create a lot of jobs already. You see, I think 6 weeks of demolition. We put a lot of people to work, right, Anthony? 2 years of construction, even more people are going to be put to work, and there will be, I understand, 700 permanent jobs created here. New residents, new businesses coming to this part of the city generates the opportunity for us to continue to invest in the things that are important to Washington, D.C. It was my privilege when I was a council member to chair the Committee on Economic Development. When we had a Committee on Economic Development, maybe we'll have one again. And it's important for this reason. It's an inside joke. Okay, stop laughing. This is why it's important, because we have across the city, across all 8 wards, big city projects and neighborhood projects that all impact the way people live. And so we want to do what's happened at this site, kind of shoot for the stars, make sure we have high aspirations for the project, the mix of affordable housing, the type of retail that we're able to attract, making sure that we're creating new and interesting public spaces, enhancing our opportunities for our flea market, which we have loved at this location for so long. That's what all of our projects should be able to do all at one time. And so I am going to continue to work with my team to make sure that we are pulling projects across the line that have been in the pipeline, but also that we're looking at all of the projects that remain to be done, setting high standards like we've done for this project and getting them completed for the community. And the sausage making that happens in the economic development process is we're going to continue to make sausage, but we're just going to try to make it faster. Okay, thank you, everybody. Now, I wasn't asked to introduce anybody, so I guess I'm turning it back to Anthony.
Are we going to go and dig a hole?
Let's go and dig a hole.
Good. Let's do that.
Let's do it.
I forgot to introduce Brian Kenner. Really bad. I also forgot to introduce our moneylender. This site, through all our joint efforts, became famous internationally. Hong Kong Shanghai Bank, German banks, German investors. We are putting this city on the map. Let's dig a hole.
All right, ready? Countdown. 1, 2, 3, go! Okay. 1, 2, 3. Get into it.